Welcome to another episode of Box Seat. Box Seat is a podcast featuring some of the best consumer brands from Britain. We're looking to give up to £1 million in funding to the future consumer brands of tomorrow. Brands that not only want to be profitable, but make a better world. Okay, it's an absolute pleasure to introduce you to Josh Cohen, founder of Newlane. Is that co-founder?
Co-founder.
Right. Yourself and your partner?
Yeah, I think Dom would be upset if you just called me a founder.
Just called you founder.
Yeah.
Come on, let's give a big shout out to Dom. So it's Dom what?
Hi, Dom Cotton.
Okay.
Yeah, Dominic Cotton.
All right.
That's him. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming to join us today, Josh. Why don't we start by just giving us a brief history on you? Where did you grow up? What inspired you to become an entrepreneur? And then what inspired you to start Newlane?
Yeah, so I grew up in Luton, of all places,
Yeah.
which wasn't the most enjoyable place to be in.
There's some nice areas around there, though.
In Luton.
Yeah, Luton who?
Yeah, that's about it. Literally, that's about it. Everyone goes, "Oh, you part of the airport?" I'm like, no. So Luton wasn't that fun, trust me. Yeah. So I grew up in Luton and basically always had that cliche entrepreneurial passion to do something entrepreneurial. So selling polos at £1.50 a pack when you buy them for 10p. That story. So I ran the local tuck shop at school. I mean, the amount of
my tuck shop.
Really? I've had so many
did.
entrepreneurs say that. Literally, everyone would come to me and I'd have the bag full of like Smarties or whatever, which was hilarious. So always wanted to do something. But fast forward a few years, I went to uni, studied business management and marketing.
Where did you study?
Nottingham Trent.
Okay.
Did that, came out of uni and ended up as a partner of a brand agency.
Which one?
So it's called The Brand Conspiracy. So I sort of quasi-founded it with two older people. So one of the co-founders was 65, one was 42. The 65-year-old was an incredible creative director who's worked with all the world's leading brands. Steph, who was a brand director, so she was a brand strategist. So we came together and they went, "Josh, you're very green out of uni. You'd be a good salesman. Why don't you run the sales function?" So I did that and I was flying around the world meeting Unilever, Nestle.
So what when you say a brand agency, that can be so many things.
I know. So it's
what do you mean specifically?
So it's consumer insight. So we're basically
Okay.
helping them to develop innovation through consumer insight. So got mad projects. Mad project we won was Cornetto. So it was like, what new flavors do they want across the European markets? We're doing projects with all sorts of brands. Samsung, we did one with Harman Technology, who were part of Samsung. There's all sorts. During that time, I was flying around the world, as I keep mentioning. Maybe I'll say it one more time. I was getting tubes in London. I was getting the subway in New York. So I was getting on trains a lot. I hated it. But so what happened is when I was going on my little adventures, I would then start to jump in Ubers because I didn't like the trains. And Ubers are obviously very expensive and you're stuck in traffic the whole time and it's not good for the planet. So the amount of times I had to whip my phone out and text the person I was meeting and be like, "So sorry, I'm stuck in traffic." There's
always traffic.
Awful. Worst way to travel around a city.
Yeah.
So to cut a long story short, during that time, I basically went, I'm sick of trains and subways and the tube, and I'm sick of Ubers because they're really expensive. So jumped on a hire bike and went, this is quite cool. I thought it was for middle-aged men in Lycra. I thought cycling was for middle-aged men.
You mean like me?
A little bit like you. I thought you had to wear the tight pants and had all the gear and the
Not when
Oakley
you're going around the
gloss
city.
and the Rafa stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought that's what cycling was for. And so realised that hire bikes were like the best thing ever because there's no traffic really. It's good for the planet. It's good for your pocket because it's cheap. And also you get to see the world. So I remember like on commutes.
Not quite the world.
Not the world.
Yeah.
The city you're in. The city you're in. But I remember, I'd see like people making bread in windows in early mornings during my commute. On the tube, you see 50 people looking at their phones like that, looking depressed. So I used to love it and I became obsessed. But one day I was going over Waterloo Bridge in London. It's a long-winded story. But I was going over Waterloo.
Take your time.
I was going over Waterloo Bridge in London and I wasn't wearing a helmet. I was on a Santander bike and I found myself in between two buses and a motorbike.
Yeah.
And the motorbike went vroom straight past me.
Yeah.
I shook on the bike. I thought, oh my God, if I smack my head, I'm gonna die or I don't know, have a brain injury or something. So I'm not a very scared person, but I went, right, I'm either never gonna use these hire bikes again which made me sad because I love them.
Really enjoyed them.
Love them. Or I need to wear a helmet. So, and then I was like, but I can't wear a bulky, inconvenient helmet. I hated it. I saw people strap it to their bags. You put them on the table. They're just a nuisance. So looked into foldable helmets. I was like, surely they exist. So there are a few on the market. So I bought a few of them, used them, hated them for various different reasons. They were either too expensive for what they were, didn't like the way they folded or packed, didn't like the shape they went into, felt flimsy. There's a myriad of reasons. And basically when I need to create one that suits my need. During that agency that I was working for fell away because it's a very long story, but my two co-founders decided they didn't like each other. But
you also used to creating products and solving issues.
So they decided they didn't like each other. So I then moved on to a social innovation agency, which is a very similar thing, but it was about creating innovation for social good. So that was really cool. But Dom, my co-founder now, was the founder of that agency. So that's where I met him. And I remember Dom coming in day after day with his helmet strapped around his bag. Yeah. So he was a middle-aged man in Lycra. I remember going to meetings with him and he would have the helmet strapped to his bag and then he'd put his bag on the floor, then he'd put the chair out and the chair would get caught in the helmet and then the helmet would go round and it was just a nightmare.
It's just bulky.
It sucked. So I said, Dom, that's really annoying. Do you want to create a foldable helmet? And he went, a foldable helmet? And I went, yeah, it's a good idea. Trust me. And he went, okay, let's do it.
And what's Dom's background?
So Dom's an ex-BBC journo, sports journalist. So he covered loads of sport for years. He worked for the BBC. Then he was a CEO of a few charities. So we had no idea about product, no idea about how to make things. And then it basically, to fast forward, it took us 6 years to get that thing safe. So we've been on a 6-year journey.
That's so long.
From 2018 to 2023. We were in pure research and development trying to get that thing safe. And we've learned a ton. And I think Dom and I always talk about blind optimism, because if we knew anything about, what this involved, we would never have done it.
Let's go into the product. So come on, demo a product.
So here's a box. Yeah. So we have spent ages thinking about the unboxing experience, but the first thing is that people don't expect is for a helmet to come in a box, right? That's the whole thing. So that's that. Good. So there we go. And then this is the helmet. So the helmet comes
finished.
The helmet comes out of the box like this.
Okay.
It's in a lovely frosted bag.
Yeah.
This is our yellow version. We have 3 different colors. This is orange, yellow, and then we've got a white one.
Yellow in terms of interior?
In terms of the foams change colour in the tab at the front.
Okay.
We will eventually get to wrapping it in different colours for visibility. Yeah. But at the moment, it's mainly black and then you change the tab and the foams.
Because I would encourage you to have a fluorescent version.
Yeah, we will. We'll get to that.
As a simple thing.
Yeah, but the way that it works
it might not look cool, but guess what? They're not meant to look cool.
No, I know. Well, we can change, this is wrapped, so we can change that to any colour that we want it to be.
Great.
And we're currently at the moment doing customizable foams. We're about to launch that. So if you wanted, you can change the tab at the front to it's minimal change of color. So we spent 6 years developing this, and the way that it works is there's a clamp at the back that you undo. Yeah. You take the top piece, you spin it round. Oh wow! Sits into there, and you do the clamp up at the back.
That's
and you end
so
up with,
easy.
And you end up with what looks.
Go on, let me try that one. I think that could.
And you end up with what looks like a regular bike helmet. Okay. So a lot of our competitors look weird and wonderful. Yeah. So they've got really strange designs and they look weird on the head. But this looks like a traditional bike helmet when it's in its unpacked
And I think that's the most important thing first. But I'm going to start with, is it some sort of clasping system?
Yeah, here you go. So this is a cool company called Fidlock. But yeah, it's magnetic. So that means when you're under your chin, you just have to swipe it.
So how do you do it?
So you just swipe it to the side like that. Just like that. Swipe. There you go. So it means when it's under your chin, you just have to go like that.
And do you know what? Can I say that is really good, because sometimes with these, the annoying thing is you lose some bits in them, and they don't actually you can sometimes lose these bits.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anything that keeps it on.
But also, I wish we came up with that because it's awesome. But we're partnered with them, and they actually took our helmet to a big bike show in Taipei last week.
What's the benefit of that clasping system as opposed to a normal clasping system?
But it's just like, so under the chin, it's easier.
Okay.
And it's just really easy to use. I mean, the other ones are terrible. You've got to pinch them under your chin and get your skin caught. So it's really good, and it also premiumizes the product, and people love it.
Have you got an inbuilt light, or is that just a reflector?
No,
light?
so just a reflector at the moment, because we're a new brand. We didn't want to start putting circuit boards in the helmet just yet, but we will get to that eventually. He's trying it on.
I've got a big head, I told you.
So this only goes up to 61. We have got a larger size.
Yeah, I told you I've got a big head. Stop smiling all over there.
we've just passed the larger size.
Okay.
So I'll get that for you.
What size is that one?
This goes up to 61. So
So what one is that? Is that medium large or large?
This is medium large. Okay. And then
it sort of fits.
It's not bad. It's a bit
it's a bit just sitting on top. Isn't
you've got a 63 head, which is weird that I know
I've got
that.
a big head.
Yeah, you got a big head.
Yeah.
I've got a small head.
Yeah. We'll try it on you. So let's look.
You guys want to see it in action? So there you go. So back adjuster. And there you go. So it's actually a little bit big for my head.
Okay.
So where
All right. So it looks okay.
So it looks like a normal bike helmet.
Okay.
And it feels like one.
And let's ask the all important question. There's no point being a bike helmet if it's not safe. So how safe is it?
So the reason we spent 6 years developing it is because we were trying to get it through the European safety tests.
Okay.
It's called the EN1078.
Yeah.
By the way, the split in the business is Dom that looks after products, logistics and operations.
Okay.
I'm sales and marketing.
All right.
So he would have been much better explaining the product. But anyway, you've got me today. So we spend 6 years trying to get it through the test. They smash it down in all sorts of places.
Yeah.
They heat it up to plus 40 degrees. They cool it down to minus 40. So they freeze it, and then they smack it in different places. They do retention tests where they basically make sure
all they need to do is give it to me. I'll test it. Yeah, exactly.
So they do all sorts of tests, and basically this is past that test. So it's as safe as any other helmet. We got awarded that in 2023, and the story of how we managed to do it is actually pretty wild, how we got it through the test in the end.
Well, go on, tell me.
So what happened was over 6 years, we had 2 different factories, 7 different designers in China, UK, here, Europe, all over the place. Yeah. And as I said to you before, they all looked at it and went, this isn't a normal helmet. It's a design engineering problem. So for 6 years, what was happening is we were getting through, we were going to test to an external test house, we'd put it on. Yeah. They would do the tests.
What, like Intertex and stuff like this?
Yeah, it's called Vias. There's one in Belgium that we're using. There's one Inspec International. There's another one called Vias. We ended up in Belgium of all places. But they would smash it down, and we kept thinking that we had the solution. We thought we'd done it. So we'd put it in, we'd all cross our fingers. We'd be like, we've got marketing plans, we've got brand plans, we've got all the brand. Every time we would fail.
Really?
So, and every time we failed, it would be on like tiny, minuscule things, but it was hard to identify what the actual problem was because it's in a hole.
But are you saying to me that, like, say you go onto Amazon and you buy a bike helmet, has every one of their products on there been tested? Yeah,
they'll be tested to the EN1078. So what happened was we couldn't do it for 6 years. We raised 1.1 million. Yeah. We had a fund called the British Design Fund. If you've heard of them, they're our lead investor. They invest in UK consumer hardware that has IP. Okay. They led our rounds, and then we had a bunch of really amazing angel investors who were passionate about cycling.
Give me some examples of some.
We had John Gleasia, who's the chairman of DAZN.
Yeah.
Do you want me to name all our...
No, just give me a few. A few of
we had
them.
John, we had a guy called Ben Friedman who's phenomenal. He runs one of the theatres, the Prince Charles Cinema in Leicester Square. We had Damon. We had through the British Design Fund, we had the Wilco family office. Right. Who ran the Wilco retail stores.
Okay. Sadly not around anymore. There was the Rubik's Cube, guy called David Kremer. His dad created the Rubik's Cube. He put money in through that. So we had some very, very good investors. Okay. Many of which have helped us. And there's a guy called Josh Stevens as well, who had the fastest growing e-commerce business from the Times. Basically gave him that for years. Okay. And he's a brilliant e-com guy. So we raised 1.1 million, and so we kept putting it on tests, we kept failing. And every time we failed, it was a 3-month design loop to basically redo the tools, make the changes, and then put it back on test. Expensive.
It cost a fortune because we did tooling too early, basically. That was our biggest problem. Yeah. So mid 2023, So we're 6 years down the road at this point.
Yeah.
And Dom and I have kept going because we believe that this is the thing. So we're either absolutely mental, delusional founders, which I think we are anyway.
Yeah.
So we're delusional, or it's never ever going to happen, and we needed to walk away.
Yeah.
So in my wedding speech in August 23, I stood up in front of the room of people, which was actually down the road at the Landmark Hotel.
Yeah.
And I said, the helmet will pass, because everybody in my
In your
life,
wedding speech.
everyone in my life was going, is this thing going to happen?
Yeah.
And we had no idea. We didn't, honestly.
This is your wedding, by the way.
Yeah.
This wasn't a pitch event.
I know. If anyone wants to invest, always going for investment. So it got to midway through 2023 and we had 40 grand left of that 1.1 million. And Dom and I were messaging our investors being like, guys, it's been great. The journey's been amazing. We're really sorry, but I don't think we're going to do it. It's just not going to happen for us. Weirdly, they all came back and said, you guys have been amazing. Like, don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, fair. You're about to lose all your money.
You lost them all their money.
EIS relief though, so it's okay. And then we said, we got one more roll of the dice and we're gonna go for it. So we Dom found, I can't take credit for it, a design agency in Belgium, just around the corner from our test house called Voxdale. And we took it to this guy, Belgian guy, little round glasses, looked like the perfect design engineer. And he went, I can see the problem. We'll fix it. And we went, man, all these people have tried. So we were touting it around London design agency saying we got 40. He goes, how much money you got left? We go, I think it was 40K. And he goes, okay, that's not very much money to do this, but I'm going to try. But I know the problem. Cut a long story short, he did it. He fixed it. He did the amends. We put it through tooling. We put it on test. And on December the 18th, 2023, we got the email through that said, you are compliant.
Okay.
And it was our moment, Dom and I calling our mums and dads and everyone's crying and my wife's crying. And
it was a Rory moment.
Yeah.
That's what they call it now.
A Rory moment. I like it. Everyone's crying, investors. So some of our investors drove into central London and had a drink with us and getting old fashions. And I can't believe it. Mental.
That usually happens when you sell the company, not when you just develop the product.
I know, we haven't even sold the helmet yet. It's crazy. So it was a crazy moment. And so September 24. So what happened at that point is we went, okay, we're going to have an amazing Christmas, great New Year's, but we haven't got any money. Yeah. So I had to go get a bit of consultancy work, which was weird at that point. Yeah. Dom had to find some more. We then raised more money.
Yeah. How much did you raise?
So we raised another 420K.
So that's in total. You had 1.2 million plus then another 400.
So we had that with some of our existing investors. So the British Design Fund reinvested.
Okay.
Some other guys backed us. That's where we brought in Steve Parish, the chairman of Crystal Palace. Yes. We brought in Cliff, who's the chairman of Brentford Football Club, which is awesome to have them involved. So we raised 420, and that was essentially to take us to market. So we needed to order stock. So we ordered stock. And then, cut a long story short, September 24, 7 months ago, we went up for pre-orders.
Okay.
And since then we've shipped 3,500 helmets. We've got just under 300K revenue. The consumer feedback's been incredible, and we're kicking it and having a great time.
And who are your principal customers?
So we've got three main channels really. So we're D2C, B2B, and Amazon, which are going really well. The main customers are people on Line Bikes.
Yeah. But let's talk about your B2B customer. Yeah. What trade accounts did you get?
Sure. So B2B wise, so D2C 75% of our sales.
Yeah.
B2B's 15%.
Yeah.
And Amazon's 10.
Okay.
B2B wise, we're in Selfridges.
Okay.
Which is really cool. There's a bike store at the ground floor, which is really great for brand.
Yeah.
Then we have...
It's run by a company.
Smartech.
Oh, is it? I thought it was somebody else. Doesn't matter. Go on. Yeah.
They're great though, and they're selling a lot.
It's a concession, isn't it?
It's a concession, and they keep reordering, but it's great. So we're amongst some really cool brands, and people go in there and people are dropping thousands on bikes, and they go, well, here's a £90 foldable helmet, and they go, of course, I'll snap it up. So they're doing really well. We've got 15 independent bike stores, who are great. So I love like physical retail. I know you do too. Yeah. So I love it when we can get an Instagram DM and they go, can I try it on? I go, go to Fully Charged in London Bridge. You can just go in there. So they go in there and try it. So we've got 15 of those, and then we've just launched with Halfords online.
Okay, that's good.
Which is very interesting.
What about Evans Bikes?
Yeah, we've spoken to them. It hasn't materialised yet. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Which seems silly because I mean, who would you describe in terms of foldable bike helmets, who's your biggest competitor?
I feel weird like poo-pooing competition.
You're not poo-pooing it, but in the end, pretend that I
know what you mean.
I'm going to be somebody who wants to buy from you.
Let's talk about ours instead. Ours is more...
No, why is your better? What
ours
makes
is
you
more
different?
It's more robust.
Yeah.
It looks like a regular helmet when it's in its unfolded state, which people love. And it's just a lot more robust and feels a lot safer. Some of our competitors feel light and flimsy.
Yeah.
They look weird. And when you fold them, they're really complicated.
Yeah.
And you don't want a complicated product. You want something that's really easy to use.
Yours is very simple.
It's very simple.
In terms of like installing it.
And when we
simple.
And when we first started,
you're the Brompton of helmets.
Yeah, so we're doing a partnership with Brompton. Yeah, so
that's very clever.
So Brompton have bought loads of helmets off us, and on our advisory board we have the CEO of their Brompton bike hire, a guy called Julian.
I would say that is a really clever partnership because you're talking about an urban fold-away bike.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're an urban fold-away helmet.
Yeah, but it's British space-saving bike meets British space-saving because we produce it in Birmingham, so they love that. So we're doing a partnership with them. Julian's on our advisory board. He's great.
Okay.
And Dom is that Brompton are about to launch a charity, and Dom's a trustee of that charity. So it's all coming together nicely. But Brompton's a perfect partner. Yeah. But the other thing that we can layer on top of this is MIPS. Do you know MIPS?
What's MIPS?
As a cyclist, the yellow sticker that are on helmets sometimes.
Right. No.
Have you never seen that?
No.
I'm going to have to explain it to you.
Go on.
So they're a Swedish company.
Yeah.
It's a multi-impact protection system.
Yeah.
They've created a system where they replace the foams. The foams, and it helps with rotational impact.
It's weird that you say this.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say something to you. About 5 years ago, I was a judge on the Guardian Entrepreneur Awards.
Right.
And one of our finalists was, I think, a patented impact system that came out of Hull University or something like that.
Interesting.
And basically it used a hexagonal system that absorbed impacts in terms of helmets better than any other system. It was trying to get into sports. It was trying to get into baseball helmets for some reason.
Right.
But it was a really interesting, I think it was effectively, replacing maybe the foam bit.
Yeah.
I'll try and make an intro for you.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. But basically, MIPS have become the industry leader in that.
Okay.
So they help with rotational force. So what they've done is most helmet brands have their system in it. They have their own version, and then they have another version that's got 30% on the retail price, and that's the MIPS version.
Yeah.
Consumers love it. On social, we get, have you got MIPS? Where's your MIPS version?
Yeah.
Can you do MIPS? Retailers love it. So we've just signed our first German retailer, but their first question was, have you got a MIPS version coming?
Yeah.
And they all asked the same thing. So we've been working with them for 3 months, and this will be the first ever foldable helmet to have their system, which is huge for us. It's massive. I'm trying to get across how big it is, but this is going to be, and we've just been covered by Bike Biz. They've done a whole article on it.
Yeah.
But this is going to be the first helmet to have that system because it doesn't break in loads of places.
Yeah.
Because it's robust, it only has that.
Yeah.
So they've managed to create a system that covers the crown and the rim instead of our competitors who break in all different places.
Yeah.
So it's a huge consumer and industry win for us.
Yeah.
So when you talk about how we different or better, at the moment, if I'm being honest, it's based on aesthetics, price, how it feels, weight.
Yeah.
Now, if you go and we've got a MIPS version,
protection.
Yeah, and
with the new system.
Exactly. Now we are the safest because we've got the MIPS system.
Wow.
And no other foldable helmet currently can have the MIPS system.
Okay.
So it's a really big bit of news, and we found out about 3 weeks ago that it's going to happen.
Congratulations. So look, we've talked about product, okay, but I'm a great believer that there's 3 core fundamentals to running a successful consumer brand: product, traffic strategy, and your team. So let's move on to traffic. How are you going to acquire customers? So you spoke about the 3 channels. Break down those 3 channels.
Yep.
And how do you predict growing those channels?
Sure. So as I said before, D2C is 75% of our sales.
Okay. How are you picking up the D2C? How do people know about your product?
So 40% of that 75%, if that makes sense. Yeah. So 40%, 75% is organic. So we've managed to get 14 million views on our social channels in the past 6 months.
How many views?
14 million.
Wow.
1-4, which I'm super proud of.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. So we found this. How
are you achieving that?
So we found this format that works really well. So Dom and I take some mics, we go out into London or other cities, and we walk up to people and we go, "Hey, you're on a bike. How is it? Why do you ride?" And they basically go, "I ride because I love it. It's amazing, freedom, adventure, whatever." And then you go, "So why aren't you wearing a helmet?" And they basically go, "Oh, because I'm on a short journey. I don't think I need one."
Okay.
And then we go, "Well, have you seen this before?" And we whip out the Newlane helmet and we show it to them. So we do that all the time. And that basically
doesn't that get boring because you're just doing the same thing the whole time?
It's got 40 million views. We had one reel 2 weeks ago that's just gone to 700k.
Wow.
We get loads of traffic from it to our site.
Okay.
It's really good. So we've had so one of our biggest reels is Dom was walking in London and he saw one of our customers just on a Santander bike.
Yeah.
And Dom walked up to him. His name was Sebastian. And he put the camera in his face. He just went, "I'm the founder of that helmet."
Yeah.
And this guy was like, "Oh, they're brilliant. They're amazing." It was almost like we paid him, but it was completely real. Yeah. That's gone to 800,000 views or something crazy. It went viral. So we're getting a lot of organic traffic. And the way that we did that, and I can't take full credit for it, but we hired, our first hire was a head of content.
Okay.
A guy called Frank. So content is all in-house.
Yeah.
Means we can produce content all the time. We're making ads in-house all the time. Everything we produce, from statics to video, are produced in-house by us. We don't have to pay anyone else to do it, which is
makes an enormous difference. Yeah. It was weird. We had the founder of Mouse. Do you know Mouse?
I do.
Yeah, the phone protectors actually just gone into bags.
I've been speaking to James about doing a partnership with their
I was going to say.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do, and this is why, can I say we're winning? This is why I think we're doing very well, is because other helmet brands marketing is so vanilla. It's so boring. It's either really shiny, beautiful £300 helmets, or it's just middle of the road rub. And they don't do anything. There's no helmet brand that's creating content the way that we are. So we're challenging the whole space.
And it's weird because starting off a new venture capital fund, I think sometimes you've got to be brave enough to stand up and differentiate yourself from everyone. And it's not knocking the competition. It's just simply saying, look, this is how we're going to do it, and this is why we're different.
Yeah.
So in our case, we only invest in impact consumer brands, and you get a lot of people going, "Oh, consumer brands, I don't want to invest in consumer brands." Well, Britain is probably the second largest inventor and creator of consumer brands in the world, and we've got an incredible history of creating incredible consumer brands that are household names. So the idea that consumer brands are not going to exist going forward is ridiculous.
100%.
And then the next thing with us is that we're an impact brand. We only believe in investing in brands that will make a better world. In your case, getting more people to ride bikes and use helmets obviously ticks that box in a massive way. So, it's having the balls sometimes, and I wouldn't say it's knocking the competition. It's the balls to stand up to differentiate yourself from the rest of your competitors.
Yeah.
And in our case, really, the reality is most of VC is run by financiers. We're not. We're a firm run by operators. We're all consumer brand guys. Yeah. And our point of difference is that we want to add value to our deals. We don't want to just make an investment and disappear, because we believe we can really add value. And in all of our investments, we spend a lot of time and join the boards of most of our investments, because that's where we believe we can make a difference, because we've been there, we've done it before, we know who to sell to. Okay, so we spoke about organic growth and direct to customer. What else?
So I know you don't like it, but we are doing paid media.
Okay.
We are being careful with it though, so we're not spending huge budgets because we don't.
Do you know why I
don't
like it?
Why? Pay to play?
Well, yeah, exactly. I just feel as though it's an unsustainable model to really, because in the end you are going to add. There's not anyone that's going to really put in foldable helmets. It's going to be helmets, and then you want them to start thinking about foldable helmets, and you're going to maybe have to pay £1 for every customer, and you're only going to convert 1 in 100 of them. And I just have a real bugbear with Meta not paying any taxes in Britain and basically
the island thing where they wash it through.
Yeah, well, they're fleecing all British companies, so I really do.
Well, but you can be clever with it, and it is quite important to do it. But we've driven our cost per acquisition down by 60% since we launched, which is good. Month on month, it's gone down.
So give us an idea how that model for those, because we've got all these budding entrepreneurs out there, right? So I presume you're talking about Instagram when you're saying Meta,
and Facebook.
Look, but let's say you're running an Instagram campaign. Tell us what you're doing, how much is that costing you, what you're converting, and your justification for doing it.
Yeah, but it varies. I mean, so I'm not the person who's running the ads. So I just want to put that out there. I'm not that clever. But we've got two guys called Toby and James who are doing it for us, and they're fantastic. Yeah. They're phenomenal.
Are they an agency?
Yeah, they're starting an agency, but they're freelancers essentially. We're their first paid media client. So they've been great. I have a problem with agencies, but even though I used to run one. So the way it works is you create a fantastic bit of creative that you think is going to work. So it could be man gets hit on line bike. We create a bit of content.
We might need to recut that.
Maybe man gets hit on line bike. So we create a fantastic bit of content that cuts through. You then.
How long is your content?
So it varies. I mean, so we're working.
What's the most effective for you?
30 seconds, 20 seconds. What we're working a lot on in the moment is the hook rate. So the first 3 seconds are the most important. So we're working a lot on that. So you got hook rate and then the length, and we're doing lots of tests. So
because it's so annoying, isn't it? You get loads of these Instagram adverts, and what they do is they always have an attractive girl to hook you in first, and then they start talking about bike helmets.
Exactly. Like, oh god, this again. So it's all about hook rate, but our budgets are small. We spend a little bit, we test and learn, we see if the content's going to work and does conversions and traffic. If it does, then we spend more against it.
So what's your target audience? Bike riders?
Yeah, so the truth is, and I know you have a problem with Meta, but their algorithms choose now. So you put a piece of content in, and they effectively choose your audience for you.
Oh, you don't choose.
So that's why these agencies are kind of bullshit, because now they have a lot of faith in Meta's algorithms. Really? So you serve a bit of content, and Meta basically go, this person at this time on this date with this interests like your content. So
what about geography?
Yeah, you can sort of choose, but again, you kind of leave it to...
You really?
Yeah.
So you can't really say London line bike users?
You used to be able to do that a lot more. Now it's a bit more tricky. So what they do is they send it out, and then they basically go, is that person interested? Yes, great. Let's serve it more to that kind of person.
Are you paying on a cost per click basis?
Cost per acquisition, really. So we're driving it down. We're at, again, I don't know if I want to just publicly disclose it, but we're driving it down. We're 60% down since we started. So what it means is that if you look at our unit economics, our biggest lever to pull is COGS, how much it costs us to make the helmet, and then cost per acquisition. And we're driving both of those down.
Since you've actually had a product to sell, tell us about your sales record to date.
So we sold 3,500. So shipped. We got just
what's the turnover?
Just under 300k.
Okay. In how long?
In revenue, 6 months.
That's fantastic.
And we're a pretty seasonal business, obviously. So Q1, and we're in the UK, obviously people aren't looking to buy cycling products because it's freezing cold. So we had a very good Q4. Q1, we still hit our targets, which was great. People are still buying it, and we've seen an uptick in March. But so 300k in 6 months, which is
and in turn, so your run rate, you would say at the moment is about 600,000.
It is, but we're very ambitious this year. We're going for 1.7 million revenue.
In terms of your next year, or are you talking about calendar year?
Calendar year this year.
This year, year ending 25.
25. Okay. And it's contingent on the raise, obviously. But it's contingent on spending more on marketing and then really going for the B2B partnerships, launching the MIPS version, the new sizes coming, and then we've got complementary products, which we haven't even spoken about. So,
what's the whole story about the different colours of the interior? Why?
It's just preference of people. I don't know. I mean, it's a very minimal change, but people buy the orange one, or they buy the white one, or they buy the yellow. So the yellow and the white went out of stock recently, and we honestly had a wait list of hundreds of people waiting for the white one. And I was like, you're mental. It's like, it's almost the same thing. But people like colours, and then we are going to be launching, because of what you said before about it's a one-time purchase, we need to be giving more products. So this, which I wasn't going to show because I use it, but this is a Newlane backpack, which I use this, by the way, so it's a bit dirty. Sorry, but we're launching this because a lot of our customers ask for a backpack to be in a bundle.
Yeah.
So I've actually got my helmet in here.
Yeah.
There it is. There's my one I actually used. So we'll be launching this post raise.
Yeah.
To increase AOV. So we'll bundle them up basically. So we've got that, and then the foams. A lot of people have asked us for different colours.
Yeah.
So at checkout, you'll be able to select a personalised coloured foam.
Yeah.
So if you want a pink foam or you want to...
If you don't mind me saying, if I was you, I would just have all my focus on a black helmet with a black interior. And if you want to buy different inserts, you can buy different inserts.
It could be an add-on,
And just be really focused on that.
Yeah.
And you're going to hate what I'm going to say next. I wouldn't do the backpack.
Would you not?
No.
Right.
And although I think it's a really good idea, what I would do is a backpack collaboration.
Right.
And I would do it with Mouse.
Come on, Mouse. Let's go. I'll try.
I really would.
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, I could see a synergy there. And all you really need to do at the moment is you've hit a home run. You've got a product that's quite unique, that's out there. And yeah, I understand what you're doing. The backpacks are more promotional, but that is your home run. Just keep it simple, stupid. Keep nailing it. You've got such a long journey to go with that. Yeah. You're only beginning. You don't need another product. Yeah. That's got a long way to go. And the next thing you need is just a fluorescent colour, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, behind the curtain, so yellow, orange, and white are the most popular cycling helmet colours. Yeah. So that's how we came up with them. But yeah, you're right. I like it. I mean,
just focus is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, a lot of investors, some of our investors have said the backpack's a great idea. Some have said not sure, but what we're proposing is that we're buying it landed at a very reasonable cost. Yeah. So we're going to buy 500 of them, and we'll bundle it up on the site and see if people actually want it. Because a lot of our customers have asked for ancillary products. So they've gone, if you've got a backpack, because you buy, imagine you get the helmet and a backpack for 140 quid or something instead of just spending 90. But
for instance, Mouse has just done a big, I don't know why I'm pushing Mouse.
The McLaren,
The McLaren hookup. Imagine, and when you go actually onto cycle tracks, a lot of those guys also have fold-away bikes. Yeah. I mean, I would love to see a Brompton like collab with you guys. Yeah. I think that's genius.
It's coming soon. Yeah. They've bought a load of helmets off us, and we're doing a partnership. So
and by the way, that would be a really good Google campaign to anytime anyone search Brompton is make sure to see one of your helmets.
Yeah, exactly. You sure you don't work for Mouse? It's feeling that way. Yeah. But no, but you're right. We are focusing in on that. And I think the other thing that we haven't spoken about, which we probably should be, because it's the first slide of our pitch deck, is that we've reinvented the helmet, and it just so happens that we've started in cycling. Yeah. So our global IP is very broad. Yeah. And so when we started, we're very passionate about cycling. That's what Dom and I love. Yeah. And we think more people should cycle and everything we've just spoken about.
Which I agree.
So, but what happened by chance is that our patent lawyer, who's 120, sorry, David, who sits in a little house in Hatfield, who's got a 98.7% success rate.
Incredible.
It might even be more than that, I don't know. Yeah. He went, I'm going to get you the patent for all protective helmets. Yeah. And we thought we're only going to get it for cycling. We haven't got a vision for anything else. Yeah. Again, cut another long story short, he managed to do it. So we've got a very broad pattern, which is essentially around a coupling at the back and a coupling at the front, which means that you can rotate a crown 180 degrees. Very, very difficult to copy because of the engineering. But what it means is that we have effectively, what Newlane is a new folding mechanism for any protective helmet. Skiing, snowboarding, climbing, equestrian, military. Okay. And this system can be applied to any of those helmets. Okay. So it's amazing that we've just got to this point now and we're talking about it. Yeah. But it just happens we started in cycling and we've proved that the mechanism, our system works in a helmet and that people love it.
Just in case you're wondering, I think that's probably one of the most important points that you made today.
I know.
Yeah.
Usually
the backpack.
It's the first slide. It's the first slide of our deck. We've reinvented. Because
I know, but it's fantastic. Yeah. And also
it's huge.
For those people that don't realise out there's some major tax advantages of having IPs, and certainly in terms of patents, there's some real advantages for the company in terms of your tax situation. So
we've got patents in UK, key European markets, and the whole of America.
Okay. Let's talk about other IP. You got the trademark registered.
Yeah, trademark.
UK and Europe.
Yeah, trademark.
You've had a good trademark attorney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got that.
All right. So we've spoken about product. We've spoken about your customer acquisition strategy. We've spoken about some new developments. Let's speak about team.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's the team and why are your team going to be successful?
I like it. Dom's going to like it because we can talk about him again.
Good.
So 2 co-founders, Dom and I, who we've spoken about. So I lead on sales and marketing and finance, really.
Yeah.
Dom is product logistics operations.
Yeah.
And obviously we cross-collab. We are co-founders.
Why are you a good team?
Because we complement each other. We're very different. Dom's 57 and brings a wealth of experience.
Yeah.
I'm 31 and gaining more experience as I go along.
Natural born salesman you come across.
And we both trust our intuition a lot. So
Good.
I trust Dom's intuition implicitly and he trusts mine. And it's been it's been a fantastic relationship.
How long have you known each other?
It's now been 8 years.
And you had 6 years of going nowhere.
6 years.
So that really is testimony to your relationship,
Yeah,
isn't
well,
it?
we needed to close the business down 5 times. We nearly ran out of money each one of those times. We genuinely thought it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've stuck together and it's been pure passion and resilience because we both have the same mission ultimately, which is to help people get on bikes.
Yeah.
So our line that we haven't even said yet is to make sustainable travel simpler and safer for everyone.
Yeah.
So that's
a mouthful.
That's our joint mission,
Yeah.
though, is to make sure that people get on bikes but be safe as they do.
Sustainable travel.
Making
simpler.
sustainable travel simpler and safer for everyone.
Simpler
And safer.
Newlane. Simpler and safer.
There you go.
Let's try and get it into a nutshell.
Something like
It's
that.
my old copywriting days.
Yeah. There you go. Newlane.
Okay, so that's 2. Who else?
So that's Dom and I. We've got Frank, who we've mentioned, who is our head of content.
Yeah.
So he's producing content all the time.
Okay.
He's brilliant. He can do stop motion, graphics, statics, the whole
Yeah.
shebang. We've got Talia, who's our head of operations.
Your wife?
Who is my wife. And she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
She's more organized than any of us. And
Yeah.
so she runs our customer service. She posts and runs our social channels to make sure we're like clockwork. She does more than that, but she does a lot. So that's really the core team. Then we've got a fractional CFO called Ben,
Okay.
who's had shares in the business for 6 years when we first started. He does all our financial modeling. We have finance meetings with him every week where we go through the numbers.
Good.
He is making us be sure
Disciplined.
that we're heading towards profitability.
Yeah.
So he's massive on profitability.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing that we're focusing on because we don't want to be the brand that ends up just spending and not focusing on that. So we're completely focused
What's
on
your cash burn like?
it's really low because the overheads are low. We're about 15 grand a month at
Okay.
the moment
How much money you got left?
in the account, 150.
Good. 10 weeks.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Good runway.
All right. And how much you raising?
875. We got 30% committed.
Okay.
So
At what valuation?
5 million.
Okay. So how are you justifying the 5 million?
So it's either 3 times revenue this year, our projected revenue. Projected revenue this year. Or we have looked some investors, and again we've got 30% committed. So the ones that have said it's fine is based off 2026 numbers, which is I know a challenge.
Look, I can't nod and agree with everything you do.
Sure.
I would say, Josh, that the valuation is challenging. Okay. The reason why I would say it is, and this is also for the listeners out there, is at the moment it's an investor's market. Okay. Just simply, there's a lot of existing companies that are running out of money and there's not enough investment going into them. Britain is suffering with a confidence issue. I believe it's temporary.
Yeah.
But it is hard to raise money, really hard to raise money. And I think the numbers and look, how long's a piece of string? But roughly the numbers that people are looking at is 2 times your projected turnover.
This year, yeah.
The minimum that's based on is 3-month run rate. So your last 3 months projecting forward. There's a lot of guys that prefer it to actually be past 12 months.
Sure.
Okay. That's going to be, so you're pushing your run rate figures because you're not really talking about a run rate of in those parameters. If you've done 500,000 over the last 6 months, you're about £1 million turnover.
Sure.
You're talking about post money. You're talking about 5 times existing run rate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a bit toppy.
Sure.
So I would say And the other way in which people are evaluating is on EBITDA, when clearly you're not on EBITDA. However, in your defense, what I will say is there is a premium on defensibility, on the patent.
Yep.
Okay. And I would say that you could push that valuation as a result of that. Okay.
That was going to be my pushback. Yeah. I mean, the IP's solid and it's
yeah. So I would say that is a defense for why you can say that. I would be frank with you. I do think it's a bit of a aggressive number. I don't think it was an aggressive number, by the way, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to say in this current environment,
it's interesting. It's
really tough.
Because the last round we raised that, which was pre-revenue, pre-everything, was 3.8.
Yeah.
And again, it's the IP and the patents that drive it forward. Existing investors have basically gone, you know what, it sounds okay. And then we've just had a fund in Manchester who've just committed 150.
Okay.
And I don't know, they didn't really talk about valuation. It's weird. So we just started raising. We got 30% committed.
Any company doesn't, any fund that doesn't talk about valuation.
Well, we spoke about valuation, but you know, it was kind of like that's fair.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So the IP takes it a long way in our view, and we are going to smash it and hit these numbers.
Okay.
And again, I don't know what sort of investor you are, if you want to hear about exits and all that lovely stuff.
We're going to move on to that.
Yeah.
So I mean, how we differ is that we think that this, before we even look at the numbers, the valuations and the financials, is firstly, we want to go, what's the product like? What's your USP? Look, you get a massive tick in that. I was a bit skeptical before you came today about, is this really solving an issue? Is this just a sort of, you know, twee idea? Oh, I'm going to do a foldable helmet, you know, but actually it is solving an issue. So I think you get a massive tick with that.
Great.
And you've really spent that time over the past 6 years developing that product. I buy into your traffic strategy. I don't fully believe that you've explored the potential of wholesale and also help drive traffic to your own D2C sites. You're going to have a lot of people that just try on the product and they will buy it online, which is a great way of acquiring customers. You're not going to get a better way. They're going to try it on. And I think when you look at people like Apple, you know, I think that's a fundamental of why they run Apple stores. They're not concerned about whether it's from Apple that they buy the store, as long as they buy an Apple product. So trying and testing on is going to be really key. I think it's a symbiotic relationship. So I'm buying into the growth. Okay. It's, I think with team, I think you come across really, you're certainly the type of front man that I would want to have running. You know, some people are natural born salesmen, and every entrepreneur has to be a salesman. For those of you out there that you're an entrepreneur and you say you don't like sales, don't be an entrepreneur, because every businessman has to sell, you know, and if you don't believe that, then you'll find out soon, because trust me, when you turn up to a bank manager, you're selling. Okay. So it's great that you've got a love of selling, you know, and a love of customer relationships. When it comes to the financials, as I said, I think it's a bit toppy. What's your exit strategy?
I love it. Exit strategy. It sounds like grandiose, doesn't it? Yeah. We've had, so interestingly, before we're even in the market, we had a lot of helmets get manufactured in Germany. Yeah. And we had some huge brands who do 500 million turnover knock on our door and basically go, we've just seen you doing this. We're interested.
Okay.
And again, it was like, we had nothing, like we weren't in the market. We were still doing the development. So it didn't go anywhere, but they were talking about how these big helmet manufacturers will add a foldable helmet to their range, their portfolio, their range very soon. They're watching the market closely. Interestingly, foldable helmets are growing faster than regular commuter helmets as a segment, which is pretty interesting. But
you believe you're the best in category.
But we believe that there are only a few ways that you can fold a helmet.
Yeah.
Plus the MIPS thing, which is, I don't know if I've got that across enough.
You really have.
It's big.
In terms of one of the best, most protective helmets. Not only is it foldable, but it's actually better for you.
Because ultimately people want safety. So we're basically going, here is the best foldable helmet and it's the most safe.
There's 2 reasons why you buy a helmet. There's 3. Of course, you want to be concerned a bit about look, because if you come off looking like an alien, because some helmets make you look like an alien, you know, it's not.
Which is what the other foldables look like. I'll show them after. But,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then, of course, function is really important. They've got to be protective. There's a third element that I think you could do a bit of work on, and that's to be seen.
Yeah.
Because it's the one piece of item that you put on that you can be seen on.
Yeah.
So rather than wearing a fluorescent, you don't need to wear a fluorescent vest if you've got a fluorescent helmet, or you've got a light at the back of it. But that will all come.
Yeah, it'll come. It's in our plan to do that. Yeah. Now we've got the basis, we will do that. We'll do that. So these big German brands have contacted us. There is somebody out there who will buy this based on the fact of all the things that I've just said. It's the safest foldable helmet on the market. Brands will want a foldable helmet. There's only a few ways you can fold a helmet, and here's the best one.
Okay, but look, I buy into there's a buyer out there, but what's your own aspirations is my question.
So we've been doing it for 7 years.
Yeah.
I'm 31.
Yeah.
It's an interesting, do I want to be selling helmets my whole life? I don't know. Probably not. Do I want more people to ride a bike? Yes. Do I want more people to be safe as they're doing it? Yes. Is that the solution for it? Yes. Could a massive brand who's got the firepower to really turn that into something huge? I would love that to happen. Okay.
So I'm going to be absolutely clear with you, right? And I hope this will help you for any future chats with VCs. Is when you're asked that question, okay, there's only 3 reasons to be in business. Remember this, okay? It's really important.
Yeah.
It is for your ego, all right? I would say more than 50% of entrepreneurs are in business for the ego. That included me, definitely, in my first 20 years. And let's give you examples of that. That is, I want to be the brand. No, there's the cult of the entrepreneur at the moment. I'm doing my podcast, X, Y,
or
Z.
the badge of being an entrepreneur.
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in VC, you know. How many brands have you sold? None. Okay.
Yeah, but until they realise it's not sexy. Like being an entrepreneur isn't sexy. Anyway.
So don't be one of those guys that are just in business because of your ego. And one of the reasons you get some people going, I want to be in control of my own destiny. That's your ego. That means you can't have a boss. Guess what? So be careful to those people that are out there of going, I want to be in control of my own destiny. That's your ego. The next reason you're in business is to set up a business to sell it. Okay. When you're speaking to a VC, make sure every time you say that, right?
Yeah.
Because if you say you're not, bye. See you later. Because we're only in it to sell on. It might be we might sell our investment on with you involved in it, but say it. Just be clear, because that is the only reason a VC is in business. They're in business to start a brand or a company to sell it for a profit. Okay. In our case, we invest in impact consumer brands. That doesn't mean that's bad. We can invest in lots of things. We can invest in bombs, you know, but we don't want to. We won't go and invest in defense. We can invest in food that's bad for you. We don't want to. We want to invest in things that make a better world. So, but unashamedly, we want to make money. So there's nothing wrong with you going, I've set this company up. I want to get it going. Eventually, I want to sell it. Whether it's private equity, whether it's another major company, that's fine. And then thirdly, probably the best reason to be in business from a tax efficient perspective is to set up a business and to hand it over to your family or the benefits of your employees or for the benefit of society, as Yves Chouinard has done with Patagonia, as the Rubin family have done with Pentland, who, by the way, I think we spoke about that earlier, I think could be an amazing backer for you. They really could.
They really could be,
yeah. In terms of,
but that is what I was trying to say. I hope that came across. I want someone to take it on and smash it.
Great.
Do you know what I mean? But the thing is that to answer, and again, I know you're not asking for an answer, but point one is I wouldn't be doing this for 6 years if I thought it was for my ego. Trust me, because my ego was shot. All my mates were going, mate, what are you doing with this bloody helmet? Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have tried. There was no ego going on. It was the complete opposite.
But there's a lot of people that
there's a lot of people that do it.
But they also don't realise it's for ego. I didn't for 20 years.
Yeah. I have a lot of friends who do it just because they think it's cool. Yeah, that's the truth.
Or don't have an exit strategy.
Yeah.
It's like going on a journey and not knowing your destination.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I need to be clearer. I mean, we have in our deck, we have 3 very solid potential acquisition partners, and we will sell it to one of them in the next couple of years. Okay. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, which is good. Okay, so you said you're looking to raise just shy of £1 million. You're looking at 5.5 million valuation.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that post money or pre money? Pre money. Yeah. Post money, how much is it?
Was 6.4 or something.
6.4 based on a turnover of 1.7
this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So looking at 4 times sort of valuation roughly. Yeah. Okay. And the justification of that is the patent element of it, and the time it's taken to develop the product means that you could get a premium. Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Couldn't have said it better myself. There you go. Yeah.
See, I told you. Nice.
You brought it round. Yeah, I like it.
Well, listen, it's been a real pleasure having you today, and thank you.
Thanks, Roger. Appreciate it, man. See you soon. Thank you.